Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Sharon Linley, Art for Every Hand. Today we are going to be doing some brushwork and we are going to work with mini canvas. And the question going through my head was, is it easier? I can honestly say no. I've showcased the brushes that I'm going to be using and the colours, and yeah, I knew I wanted to create a ocean vibe. So I will do my best to talk through it to help you, but backtrack if you want to have a little look. You don't have to use the same brands that I'm using. Use similar tones or similar colours to what you've got. Now, I always find the sky colour is always a little bit harder for me because I'm usually quite bright with my colours, and I'm trying my hardest to tone it down and not do realism but make it look more real, if that makes sense. So if you just want to watch me create, pull up your chair, making sure you've got a nice warm drink in your hands, and hopefully you'll relax by just seeing me create. If you're going to try and use this as a paint along, that's okay. You can still have a little warm drink for you or a cool drink, whichever you prefer, and then just pause at every little area where you need to. I have removed some of the downtime just to save you time, and downtime for me is when I'm maybe washing my brush or cleaning it. And so do know, in between working on my skies and my oceans and my sand, I definitely change my water and make sure it's cleaned out. Now the first go round is always just about connecting with the canvas, trying to make sure there's coverage in there, understand how I want my composition to be, and don't get too attached to it because you are going to keep changing that image. I use little circular motions, and I try to work wet on wet, which is very hard when you're working with acrylics. The beauty of oil paints is that they keep wet for a very long time, but you also have to wait for it to dry in between. Now I'm trying to create a little bit of haze here. When I add the tiniest little bit of red, you don't want to tell that there is a red, but you do want to make your little bit of haze with it. So keep working back and forth until you get a colour that is aesthetically pleasing to you. If you can tell there's red in there, it's too much. And so you will see, that's why I've not removed anything, that it doesn't come naturally to me. There is a little bit of intuition in there, but I apply it, and then if it looks too red, then I'll go over it. So again, progress, not perfection. Don't get stressed if you don't get it right to start with. But with an acrylic painting, as far as I'm concerned, you need to go over it with two layers. Your original coat area to block out your colours, work on your composition, fill in any white bits of that canvas. And then the next time is to really commit to your composition, but you can still change it. And then come back for a third one just to add details. So I've just gone in with clear water on a clean brush just to blend out the haze. And I start with my whites in a little circular motion with very little paint on my brush, and it will have tones of blue, and then eventually it will come to more or less pure white. That just helps create a natural tone, shadow, depth. You don't want it to be too solid, and so that circular motion and the little bit of paint on there helps keep control. Sharon's hot tip for you here is to, when your sky is almost done or you're happy with it, pause and now go and work on the other section, which is your ocean. You can always come back and edit your sky as you go back for the second go over. And at this stage as well, if you don't have a steady hand, and never be embarrassed by that, if your sky is dry enough, you can apply a little bit of masking tape to help you get that defined edge. I ended up having to do it myself. On the smaller canvas, I just couldn't control it as much as a bigger canvas. Any of the stages I've shown you are optional. If you want to go over your canvas in one go, then you do that. I tend to like just connecting with it and working through my piece as I'm going back. But when I do go over it and editing it like this, I think, oh, that was nice. I could have left it there. And I think sometimes you just do the dance. So natural pauses when you're painting to walk away, have a little look, see if it's aesthetically pleasing to you, see if you see things that when you're in your painting you don't see. So that's one of my tips. I'm trying to work out how I wanted it to look and feel, because in a distance your colour would be more muted, and so I'm just working it out, feeling it, seeing what I'm enjoying. I didn't know how far forward I wanted to bring my ocean meeting the beach, and I didn't know whether I wanted a still ocean or a light ocean. Not light ocean, a movement in there. So while you're working that out, just experiment with different tones, make your brush go in different strokes. You could even scuff it, which is what I'm doing at the moment. When you're scuffing it, that gives you the ability to bring through brush strokes where you're adding darker and lighter bits together, creating a natural movement within your ocean. So use whatever blues you've got, use your ocean, whatever colour you connect with, and keep going back and forth. And again, remember, progress, not perfection, because you're going to come back through and go over some of the parts again. As I'm coming in lighter here, I know that this is where, once I get rid of that bit there, this is where I'm wanting almost my ocean line and beach line to be. Now you'll see throughout this process, I didn't get it right, so you'll see me doing the dance of my acrylic paint, going back and forth until I find a part that I'm happy with. The more water you add to it, the more it's going to have a glaze effect. And then if you let it dry and you come back with some other colours, add a little bit onto your brush and then you can scuff it. If you want to know more about what scuffing means, let me know. Basically, it means a very dry brush with very little paint on there. You're going to scuff it hard on your canvas. The canvas is going to grab bits of that paint off, and then you're going to add little bits of detail in there. So I'm trying to work on a little bit of the sky coming into my ocean. And so if you bring some sky colour into your ocean, that helps with the reflection of potentially the sky or clouds coming into your ocean. It can add a lot of value. And again, I'm just going back over with pure water on my brush, trying to just not make it so harsh at the back. But you'll see, back and forth I go. But I will leave you for a little bit and I'll come and add value or explain what I'm doing when I feel it's relevant. From my brush strokes, I can see where maybe there is a potential wave coming in. So I've just got a little bit of the blue white on the end of my brush, and I'm now just going to add to that to see if I'm happy with it. And I'm now coming in with a little bit more foam where I feel the water is going to be in the beach. Now so I am now cleaning my brush, make sure there's no blue in there, and I'm going to come in and create my own sand colour. So I use a yellow, a purple and a white until I get the tones. Now if you've got too much purple in there, you add a little bit of white and yellow, and if you've got too much yellow in there, you add a little bit purple and white until you get your tones. Once you feel very happy with your tones, you just keep adding a little bit more white to create your different shades. This is what I'm showing you there. It's optional if you do that, but when you're doing this part here, I'm trying to make sure, one, I'm not going into the blue so it doesn't become green, and gosh, what's going on with my words here? So my ocean is dry, And I am trying to understand what part will be in the ocean where the waves are just lapping over it. Where will my shadow be? Am I happy with the tones? Am I happy with the composition? Again, progress, not perfection. And I know that if it doesn't work out, I'll have to go back over it. And then I start to bring in some lighter tones. Just because where I am, my sand's a little bit lighter, but I start scuffing it so that you still get in some of the dark coming through. And then when I know where my ocean line will be, you'll see me come back in, and when the sand's dry, I'll drag a little bit of the ocean back over my sand. You want to trick your brain to think that there's water and sand there. And I encourage you at each stage again, walk away, come back, see if you're happy with it. Now I feel fairly happy with where the sand and the ocean's going to be, so I'm just mixing up a little bit more of that light blue foam. And so got the smaller brush and doing circular motions, very little paint on there, and trying not to make it a solid line. I want it to seem very organic. And again, like my clouds, I'll come over it 3 times, and each time it'll be a different shade until eventually it's a little bit of white, because then from a distance it helps you see shadows under the foam, which then tricks it to think there's movement. I can overwork these areas, so I am trying to go slow, and you might see that I come in and I add a bit of water to edit it out. I always have a circular motion, and if you have a little bit of the sky colour just in front of the ocean, that can look like there's a little bit of water lapping back there. So the reason I'm showing you the whole process in real time is hopefully you'll learn a little bit of what I'm doing with my brush motions, the different colours, and why I'm doing it. Now I'm trying to get a tiniest of little bit onto my palette knife and dragging it across. The idea being for this is a little bit of reflection or a little bit of sea foam in there, and if you overwork it, you can add a little bit of water to your brush and edit it out. And so I'm always looking at 3 things: the sky, the ocean, the sand. And even though I'm working on my foam here, I might be glancing up at the sky or glancing at the sea. That's just how my brain works. And then I'll have a little look at the bits I've created and thinking, did that add value or did that remove value? And so always have the opportunity to edit it, get up, walk away, stare back at it, check what you're happy with. At the end of the day, you have to be the one happy with it. It's all about enjoying the process and learning each time you create. So I am going to leave you to watch the rest of the video and listen to a little bit of Sharon's Dodgy FM. If you want to ask questions that maybe I've not answered in here, pop it into the comments and I will do my best to get back to you. But just remember, I always recommend 3 layers, 3 different tones. Walk away, look at it, and nothing's permanent. You can always edit it out. Now when acrylic does dry, it always dries a little bit darker than when you apply your paint. So I did come and seal my acrylic paints, and when I show it you at the end, that is when it's got its the varnish over the top of it, which does bring a little bit more of it to life. But again, if you found this video helpful in any way, shape or form, or you just want to support my channel, please do consider giving me a like, subscribe, share, and comments are always welcome. And let me know if you did create anything or learn anything from this video. And I hope you enjoy me bringing it all together. I will see you on the next video. I hope wherever you are in the world you are safe, and until that time, happy creating.